Hi, I'm Megan, and this is Crash Course World History. Today we're going to talk about the feudal system. Anyway, it all started in Europe between the 9th and 15th centuries when they wore robes as clothes and they all thought they looked good. They didn't. Except the Mongols. They rocked those robes. The feudal system started as a result of the Viking, Magyar, and Muslim invasions. Nobles hired trained knights who could ride on horseback to help defend their castles. Knights were expensive because they needed weapons, armor, and horses, so they demanded payment for their services. Time for a fun fact. Anyone who accepted land from a lord was a vassal to the person he took it from. This is why they call it the feudal system. Also, the only problem with this was having to choose who you would help fight with if both of your lords went to war, because there was no problem with you having land from more than one lord. He had financial obligations to his lord. If his lord was captured in battle, he had to help pay for his relief. The kings believed their job had been chosen by a god, or whoever they believed in back then, which was called a divine right. What? I don't understand any of this. Not a Sorry about that. Now let's get deeper into what feudalism really is and how annoying it is to explain it all. So basically, there isn't really a good definition of feudalism in the modern day because it was back in the medieval days and all. Anywho, this is called land exchange. It was to provide the medieval knights with all sorts of cool stuff like weapons, armor, and specially trained to kick butt for the king. The hierarchy of rulers is pretty much divided like this. There's the king. I mean, obviously the king would be on top of this freaking list. And if the king died, his firstborn son would take over as the new king. Wait, what if he didn't have a son? That's a whole nother story. Bishop. Yay, they did all kinds of stuff in the church. They were the church leader and managed an area called a diocese. They also were very rich. Next were the barons. They mainly ruled large areas of land. They looked like their job was so important, but instead they just kissed up to the king about taxes and all that jazz. Then were the lords, typically not the best rank, but they did own pretty much everything such as the crops, villages, and peasants. Peasants or serfs. Oh boy, these were the average people who wanted to live the medieval dream, but instead they were treated like crud and worked as though they were slaves. Wait, I have a question. What is your question, past me? What are the manorial systems? That's a great question. We'll talk about them now. There's a lot to explain about this system, so I'll just break it down into a song. Ready? 'Cause I'm not. The system was built around large estates called manors. The manors were usually owned by wealthy landlords or knights, but also have people rent some of their own land for trades like crops, animals, and whatnot. The castle life was very cramped, hot, stuffy, and smelly. All the people that lived in the castle had one room to sleep in, and usually they were used for shelter for the other people in the town. There were very small windows, so there was no air circulating through. It was very uncomfortable to live in. Village life was also very uncomfortable. The houses they lived in were made of clay, mud, and straw. They had farms to use for growing crops and animals to use for food. They also had gardens to tend during the day. Time for another fun fact. The manors in the Middle Ages learned that leaving a field empty for about a year helped to improve their soil for growing. Oh look, someone's here. Mail delivery, oh thanks. It's time to open the letter. Dear Knights during the feudal system times, how did you learn to fight? Do you even lift? Oh, and the bishops who just sat on a chair in a robe thinking, man, I'm so hipster, what did you even do? Like managing churches? Yeah, good for you, let's clap it up for you. That's all for today. See you next time here on Crash Course World History with me, Megan.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Megan. Hi, I'm Megan, and this is Crash Course World. Whoa, time for another fun fact. The manners in the Middle Ages learned that leaving
I don't understand any of this.
a few perks. What are the minority of a manor? Such, what is your accepting fees for more than one noble? The only problem was